Sometimes, the most powerful moments don't arrive with noise or drama. They arrive quietly and still manage to stop everyone in their tracks. When Bradley Walsh shared an emotional update involving Shaun Wallace, fans felt it immediately, not because of what was said out loud, but because of what was felt between the words. There was a pause, a softness, a seriousness that felt different from the usual playful energy viewers know so well. And that difference mattered. Shaun Wallace has always been a figure of calm intelligence, thoughtful, steady, the kind of presence that doesn't demand attention, yet somehow always commands it. His sharp mind and composed manner have made him unforgettable, not just as a quizmaster, but as a personality people genuinely respect. So when Bradley spoke with unexpected emotion, fans leaned in. Bradley Walsh is known for warmth, humor, and that natural charm that makes everything feel easy. He's the one who keeps things light, who laughs at himself, who makes difficult moments feel manageable with a smile and a joke at just the right time. But this time, there was something else layered in. Care. Real care. Not the kind meant for the camera, but the kind that comes from years of shared experiences, inside jokes, quiet respect, and unspoken understanding. The kind of care that doesn't need dramatic words to be felt. Viewers noticed the change instantly. Social media filled with messages asking the same question in different ways. Is everything okay? What's going on? Why does this feel so emotional? And yet, there was no panic. Instead, there was concern mixed with affection and even a little humor, because fans know both Bradley and Shaun well enough to understand that seriousness doesn't mean the end of joy. Bradley's update wasn't heavy with detail. It wasn't designed to shock. It was honest. He spoke with respect, choosing his words carefully, as if aware that millions of people were listening, not just to the message, but to the feeling behind it. His tone suggested reflection, appreciation, and a reminder that some connections matter deeply even when the spotlight moves on. Shaun, in his own way, has always represented something comforting. He's the quiet confidence in the room, the steady voice, the reminder that intelligence can be calm, kind, and quietly humorous. Fans began sharing memories, not because they were worried about losing something, but because they wanted to celebrate what already exists. Moments when Shaun delivered a line with perfect timing, the look he gives before answering a question, the subtle humor that sneaks up on you after a moment's pause. And Bradley's reaction seemed to encourage that. Instead of focusing on uncertainty, he highlighted respect. Instead of creating fear, he created space. Space for appreciation, gratitude, and reflection. There was even a gentle touch of humor in his expression, a familiar spark that suggested, yes, this matters, but don't forget who we are. That balance is something Bradley has always done beautifully. He understands that emotion doesn't have to be overwhelming to be meaningful, that you can care deeply and still smile, that seriousness and warmth don't cancel each other out, they strengthen each other. Fans responded in kind. Some joked affectionately, trying to lighten the mood while still acknowledging the emotional shift. Others admitted they felt unexpectedly moved, even though nothing dramatic had happened. Many said it reminded them how attached they've become over the years. And that's where the romance of this story truly lives. Not romance in the dramatic sense, but in familiarity, in loyalty, in shared time, in the comfort of knowing someone has been part of your routine, your evenings, your laughter. Shaun Wallace has been that presence for many. Bradley Walsh has been the bridge that brings everyone together. Their dynamic has always worked because it's built on respect, on knowing when to joke and when to pause, on understanding that sometimes the quiet moments speak loudest. This update felt like one of those moments. Fans didn't pull away, they leaned closer. They listened more carefully, they appreciated more deeply. And in doing so, they rediscovered why these personalities matter beyond entertainment, because they feel real. Bradley's words didn't signal an ending, they signaled importance. They reminded viewers that behind the familiar faces are real people, real friendships, and real moments that deserve care rather than speculation. That reminder landed softly, but powerfully. As conversations continued, the mood slowly transformed. Concern turned into gratitude, questions turned into shared laughter, worry turned into warmth. People realized they weren't reacting to bad news, they were reacting to honesty, and honesty has a way of bringing people together. Shaun Wallace, through his calm strength, has always shown that presence doesn't need volume. Bradley Walsh, through his warmth, has always shown that leadership doesn't need force. Together, even in an emotional moment, they reminded everyone why balance matters. There's something quietly exciting about that, the way a simple update can spark reflection, connection, and appreciation all at once. It's not loud excitement, it's meaningful excitement, the kind that stays with you after the screen goes dark. Fans began saying the same thing in different ways. Thank you for the years of brilliance. Thank you for the laughter. Thank you for being exactly who you are. Not because something was ending, but because something was worth acknowledging. And maybe that's the true heart of this moment. Not tragedy, not fear, but recognition. Recognition that time matters, that connection matters, and that the people who quietly become part of our lives deserve care while they're still making us smile. Bradley's emotional update didn't take anything away. It gave
fans
something
a reason
back.
to pause, reflect, and feel grateful, to laugh gently through emotion, to remember that seriousness doesn't mean sadness. Sometimes it means respect. Shaun Wallace remains exactly who people admire, thoughtful, composed, quietly brilliant. Bradley Walsh remains exactly who people love, warm, human, and effortlessly sincere. And the bond between them, professional, respectful, and quietly affectionate, continues to resonate. If this moment made you feel something, you're not alone. Many viewers found themselves smiling without realizing it. Others felt a small lump in their throat, not from fear, but from appreciation. That's the power of authenticity. Sometimes the most emotional updates aren't about loss, they're about value. And this moment reminded everyone why these familiar faces mean more than just entertainment. They represent consistency, warmth, and shared history. That's not tragic, that's meaningful, and it's something worth holding on to. And as the emotional ripple continued, something quietly reassuring began to settle in. Fans started to notice that what they were really responding to wasn't fear at all. It was familiarity, the kind that sneaks up on you after years of shared moments, routine smiles, and voices that feel like part of your everyday life. Shaun Wallace has always been that steady presence, not flashy, not loud, just dependable, like a calm voice in a busy room. People began talking about how comforting that presence has been, how Shaun's calm intelligence feels like a deep breath, how his thoughtful pauses somehow make everything feel more grounded. Even his silences seem confident, as if he's reminding everyone that not everything needs to be rushed. Bradley Walsh understands that better than anyone. That's why his emotional update felt so personal. It wasn't about delivering news, it was about acknowledging a bond, a professional partnership layered with respect, humor, and the kind of quiet affection that grows naturally over time. There was something almost charming about how Bradley handled it. Just when things felt a little too serious, that familiar spark returned. A subtle lift of the eyebrows, a soft smile, the kind that says, "Yes, we're human, but we're also okay." Fans smiled back. Some joked that Bradley has a talent for making everyone emotional and then immediately making them laugh, like a magician who steals your heart and then hands it back with a grin. Others said they felt oddly comforted, even though they couldn't quite explain why. That's the magic of authenticity. As more conversations unfolded, people started sharing not worries, but gratitude. They talked about evenings spent watching, families gathered around screens, and the small rituals built around familiar faces. Shaun wasn't just someone they watched, he was someone they trusted. Bradley wasn't just a presenter, he was a guide, leading moments with warmth and ease. Together, they've created something rare, a sense of belonging. There's a quiet romance in that idea, not romance filled with drama, but romance built on reliability, on showing up, on being consistent enough that people feel safe letting you into their lives. And that's what this moment highlighted. Not an ending, not a loss, but value. Fans began saying things like, "I didn't realize how much this mattered to me until now." Others admitted they felt a strange mix of emotions, smiling while reflecting, laughing while feeling a little sentimental. Even humor found its way in. Some joked that Shaun's calm presence could probably solve world problems if given enough time. Others teased that Bradley's emotional pauses should come with a warning label because no one is emotionally prepared for them. Laughter returned, warm and familiar. And that's when it became clear this moment hadn't shaken people because something was wrong. It moved them because something was right, something meaningful. Bradley's update reminded everyone that behind the clever questions and quick answers are real people who care about each other. People who've shared countless moments behind the scenes, built trust and grown together through time. That kind of connection doesn't disappear, it deepens. Shaun continues to represent thoughtfulness and quiet strength. Bradley continues to represent warmth and humor, and fans continue to feel grateful for both. As the conversation slowly softened, one feeling remained stronger than any other: appreciation. Appreciation for consistency in a fast-moving world. Appreciation for familiar faces that feel like old friends. Appreciation for moments that remind us why connection matters. If this story made you pause, smile, or feel a gentle warmth, then it's already done its job. Sometimes the most powerful stories aren't about shock, they're about recognition. Recognizing the people who've quietly earned a place in our lives. And that's what this moment truly became. Not a tragic update, but a heartfelt reminder. A reminder that warmth lasts, that humor heals, and that real connection never needs to shout to be felt. And just like that, the world leaned back, smiled softly, and carried on, holding those familiar voices a little closer than before.